Hi there. Just finishing up a few things here. Let me zap off a final email message and then I'm done. There you go. Okay. Hi again. My name's Scott Reynolds. If you're like me and millions more of us every day, you spend at least some of your time working out of an office in your home. Telecommuting is what they call it. It's great not to have to waste time sitting in the car on the way to work. Instead, I sit here with a cup of coffee and a bagel, getting work done. Then I email off the files and messages to my customers or to others I work with. And that's why you're here, to learn more about how to use email, electronic mail, to communicate, either for business or for personal correspondence. I do both almost every day. When I'm working at home, I might take a break and email a note to my brother or copy an article from the World Wide Web to my nephew or whatever. Before we get underway, I should let you know what you need to participate with this program. Consider them prerequisites. First, you must be using an Intel-based system, like an IBM or IBM clone computer. It has to be running Windows 95 or at least Windows 3.1. We're not going to teach you how to use Windows here. To obtain real benefits from this program, you should 1. Be familiar with using Windows. 2. Know how to use a mouse or other pointer to select and click on menus and icons, or know how to use the keyboard shortcuts. 3. Be familiar with a word processor, such as Microsoft Word or WordPerfect. That's because composing a message in email is similar to using a word processor. And 4. Have an email system installed and be connected to the internet or on a network through your office or by modem through an online service. If you haven't set up your email system or haven't signed up with an internet connection or are not on a network, you will need to be before you can do any electronic mailing. If your computer is part of a network, your network administrator can help you set up your email system. To make this program easier for you to use, it is divided into short sections, each dealing with some aspect of using email. That way, you can select just what you need to put your email system to work for you. The program will cover the basics of how email works in 3 systems: Microsoft Exchange, that comes with Windows 95, CompuServe, and America Online, 2 popular online services. We'll start with the basics of email, what it is and how it works. We'll tour the typical email screen and compare the different screens. You may use more than one email system. I use 3 myself. All are different to meet the specific needs of the service, but there are many similarities. So if you learn one, you can learn to use them all. We'll walk through how to address and compose a message, send a message, pick up and reply to a message, and add an attachment or insert a file. Ready to roll? Let's look at how email works. Okay, just what is email? Email is electronic mail. Instead of typing or writing a letter, putting it in an envelope, stamping it, and dropping it in a mailbox, you create the message on your computer and then send it over your network or the internet instantaneously. It actually works just like the Postal Service, except email uses wires instead of trucks and mail carriers. In the beginning of the process, it's the same as regular mail. You use your computer to create and address your message, but forget the stamp. Then you send your message to a local email computer, called a server, because it serves a bunch of computers on a network. The address on your message tells the server where to send your message. We'll cover addresses in detail later. Like paper mail, your message goes through regional computers or post offices on its way to your recipient, taking the quickest way possible depending upon the traffic on the internet. Then, faster than a speeding bullet, your message arrives at the recipient's local server computer, where it sits in her mailbox until she picks it up. You are not actually connected to the recipient's computer in a foreign country or even across the street. You are only connected to your local server computer. The internet does the rest, like magic. But you've got to have the right address. So what is an email address? Well, just like the address on an envelope, the email address tells where to send your message, but this address is being read by a series of server computers. You have to be accurate with the address, or, like the Postal Service, you'll get a message that says, "Return to sender, address unknown." An internet address is divided into two primary sections, the login or username section and the domain name section. They are separated by an @ symbol. The login or username, or handle, refers to the person you're sending your message to. If you send it to me at the office, I'm S. Reynolds. I could have a handle on America Online like Rambo or Charlie O, depending upon what I want my email image to be. Some online services assign you a user ID when you sign up. For instance, CompuServe and some others give you a number. Other services let you pick a name, as long as no one else on the system has it. The second half of the address is the domain or address section that follows the @ symbol. This part can have several sections depending on the location of the home server of the recipient. The sections are usually divided using a period or dot. For example, a CompuServe domain is at CompuServe.com. Other addresses can be more complex, such as at enviro.quality.mmm.com. This address is to a department within a group on a commercial company computer server. Here are some sample addresses to give you an idea of what they look like. You pronounce them like this: president@whitehouse.gov, worldwatch at ipc.agc.org, jsmith@chemlab.ufl.edu. You get the idea. There are 6 domain extensions used in the United States. They refer to different types of groups using the Internet. Gov stands for government. Com is a commercial location. EDU stands for educational organization. MIL is for military. Net is for internet provider. And org is for other organizations. It makes sense when you think about it, and it's important to get the addresses right, all the way down to the last little dot. Okay, it's tour time. This will give you a chance to see that even though there are different email services, the user interface screens are similar. So once you learn to use one email system, you can find your way around most of the others. As I said, we're going to cover how to use Microsoft Exchange, CompuServe, and America Online as email services. You'll notice that each of these services has an address area containing basically the same things. The box labeled To or Address or Mail To is where you enter the name and address of the intended recipient. CC is where you enter the addresses of people to whom you want to send copies of your messages. The subject box is where you put the title or subject for your message. It gives your recipient a hint as to what is coming and helps you and the recipient keep track of the message later. Then all the services have a larger box for composing the message. Where the screens are different is in how they handle your graphical user interface. That is, what you use to tell the system what you want it to do. America Online has some icons down the side of the Compose page, along with a menu bar across the top. The toolbar, which is not highlighted, is for accessing services when you are online with AOL. CompuServe doesn't use icons on its Create Mail screen. It relies on buttons, such as these across the bottom of the window, and the typical Windows pull-down menus. By the way, most of the work you do in an email system you do offline. You do not need to phone in or be hooked up to the internet or your office network to work with your messages. You can compose, read, and manage your email offline on your desktop computer. That way you save yourself online charges and keep from tying up the server computer. Now, back to the tour. Let's look at Microsoft Exchange. It's part of Windows 95 and as such has more word processing and formatting capabilities than the other systems. And you can see that in the layout of the new message window. Like the others, there are the pull-down menus, but Exchange also has a toolbar, a second formatting toolbar, and buttons. You see, there really are a lot of similarities between the various email systems. However, there are enough differences that we have segmented this program into sections, each featuring a single system. So if you use Microsoft Exchange, that's the next section in this program. If you want to learn about CompuServe email, you can skip ahead to that section. America Online has its own section too. So when you're ready, you can select the email instruction you want next. This portion of the program will step you through using Microsoft Exchange as your email system. Exchange comes as part of Windows 95 and can manage your emails and faxes, both of which you can send from Windows 95. With Microsoft Exchange, you can send and receive messages from people on your network or over the internet from any other email system. To open Exchange, we double-click on the inbox icon on the desktop. Here is the inbox window of Exchange. We'll maximize it to see it better. The left side or pane of the window has a list of your file folders. The right side is the message pane that lists what's in the folders. This screen is where we can move, copy, and store our email like we do with any other Windows files. To open a window to create a new message, we can pull down the Compose menu and select New Message. Or we click on the New Message icon, this little envelope in the toolbar. Here you have the new message screen that we've already toured. First, you type in the address of the person you're emailing. How about jlaforge@eng.enterprise.mil? To add another person to the to box, put in a semicolon and space to separate the names. Then just type the full address, pirate@aol.com. Fun handle, huh? Then we enter the subject of the message. We tab to the subject line and type in the subject, Poker in Engineering. The subject helps you track your messages, as well as letting the recipient understand what he or she is getting. We tab to the composition area and begin typing the message. Jordy, I know engineering can be a grind, but do you think your station is the best place for electronic poker? Let me know your thoughts. Scott. As you see, the composition area has word wrap, editing functions, and formatting, just like Microsoft Word. You probably noticed how the formatting toolbar is highlighted once we enter the composition area. We can actually format the text in Exchange. In the toolbar, there are font choices: bold, italics, underline, text color, plus paragraph formatting commands. However, this formatting is not likely to be understood by other email systems. So unless the recipients are on our network and using Exchange, they won't see our formatting. So that's all there is to addressing and creating a message. Okay, we've composed a simple message. Now we're ready to send it. We just click on the send icon, the envelope icon at the left of the toolbar. If we were in the office and on the local area network, when we click on the send envelope, our message gets sent to the network server computer. If we're offline, then our message goes to the outbox folder, where it waits for us to go online and transfer messages. Now, if you're like me and you've been working for a while out of the office, then the messages you've written have been piling up in your outbox waiting to be sent. So let's send them out and check for our new mail at the same time. When we click on the outbox, it opens to show the messages we have waiting to send. Now we select the messages we want to send, all of them. We pull down the Tools menu and click on Deliver Now Using. Then select our email service. At the office, it could be Microsoft Mail or another local area network. For the internet, it could be Microsoft Network, like I have here, or another internet provider. Exchange will connect you to your particular online service, and your messages will be transferred. Here, once Microsoft Network is selected, a box opens telling us Exchange is checking for new messages. Then the MSN sign-in window opens. It has the ID name and the password already in place. We click on Connect, and MSN dials the server computer, hooks up, and transfers the mail, both to and from the server computer. See, when the computer is connected to the MSN server, a little modem icon flashes in the taskbar and a small MSN icon appears. We can see how the messages are leaving the outbox one by one. After the messages are sent out, any messages waiting for us are transferred to the inbox folder on the desktop computer. When you have mail, a little envelope appears in your taskbar at the bottom of the screen. Once the mail delivery is complete, MSN automatically disconnects us, and we return to the outbox window. Copies of the sent messages are automatically stored in the Sent Items folder. If we had no messages to send but wanted to receive any new mail, we'd just do the same thing. Click on Deliver Mail Using from the Tools menu, connect up to the server computer, and collect the mail. And that's all there is to sending and receiving email over the internet using Exchange. As your mother always said, answer your mail. Well, now with Exchange, there are several ways to do that. When we use the Deliver Now Using command from the Tools menu, mail is transferred both ways, to the internet or the office network, and from there to our desktop computer. This little new mail icon in the taskbar lets us know when we receive new mail. Also, the inbox folder is highlighted here. We click on the folder to see a list of our new mail. To read it, we double-click on a message, and a window opens containing the message and information about the sender and the subject and any other recipients. To move to the next message in the inbox, just click on the down arrow in the toolbar. The up arrow takes you back to the previous message. Now let's say we want to reply to one of the mail messages just received. With email, it's easy. To reply to a message, we just click on one of the icons that have a little face with arrow. The single face means reply to sender. Two faces means reply to sender and anyone else on the list of recipients. The face with an arrow coming from the rear means forward the message to someone else. When we click on the reply to sender icon, the reply window opens with the name, address, and subject information already in place. The original message is also in the composition area. You can delete or leave this message as reference. We enter the reply in the composition area above the original message. Thanks for the information. We'll talk more. Scott. We send it off by clicking on the send icon, just like a regular message. Then it either goes out right away if we're connected to the network, or to the outbox if we're working remotely. Forwarding a message to someone else is very similar. You just have to enter the address information yourself. Now you know how to reply to and forward email messages. One of the great things about email is that you can send files you've created in another program over your network or the internet. It saves you time and expensive shipping costs. You can insert a file directly into your message, or you can attach a file to be opened by the recipient. Then if the other person has the software you use to create the program, they can open it up in their computer and work with it. With these Windows programs, inserting a file in an email message is a breeze. I have addressed and entered a subject in the new message window and have composed a brief message. Now we get the file to insert. I have an Excel file open on my computer with a list of cameras and costs. We click on the Excel button in the taskbar to open Excel. We drag the mouse over the file to select it. Then we pull down the Edit menu and select Copy. That copies the spreadsheet to the Windows clipboard. Then we click on the envelope, that's the New Message button, in the taskbar at the bottom of the screen. That brings the New Message window back up where we left it. We position the cursor to insert the file. Then we pull down the Edit menu and select Paste. And in it goes, looking just like the Excel file it is. Because this is an Exchange message, the formatting remains, because Excel and Exchange work together. However, CompuServe or AOL or many other email systems won't be able to read this formatting when they receive the file. They will read the data laid out in columns without the formatting. To send a fully formatted document, we need to attach it or enclose it. Here's how to do that. We'll attach the file right to this same message. We position the cursor where we want to attach the file. Then, click on the little paper clip icon in the toolbar. It stands for Insert File. The Insert File dialog box opens. It looks like a lot of the other dialog boxes in Windows 95. We select the file we want to send, in this case, the cameras.xl file, our Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. We click on it to select the file. This Insert As box gives us a choice. We can insert the file as text without any formatting or embedded commands, or attach it as a binary file with all its codes. We want the codes to be sent, so we leave Attachment selected and click on OK. And an icon is inserted in the message to indicate that the file is attached. If we change our minds about attaching the file and want to delete, we just backspace over the icon and it's deleted. When we're done, this message with its attachment is ready to send, just like any other message. Of course, the recipient will need Microsoft Excel to read it. Now, what do we do when we receive an email message with the file attached? We must detach the file to read it. This is what to do. In the inbox, we have a message with an attachment. We open the message as usual. There, in the message, is the icon representing the attachment. We click on the attachment icon. Pull down the File menu and click on Save As to save the file to the hard drive on our desktop computer. When the Save As window opens, we name the file and select the location to save it. Then later we can use the appropriate software to open and work with the file. Well, those are the basics of using Microsoft Exchange for email. There's a lot more you can do in terms of managing your mail files, setting up an address book, using different internet systems, and interacting with the World Wide Web. If you'd like, take a look at the rest of this program on how to use CompuServe and America Online for email. CompuServe comes up next. Welcome to the section on how to use CompuServe to do your emailing. We'll learn how to address, compose, and send email, pick up and reply to email, and insert or attach files to your messages. I'll show you how to use email without adding to your online time. It's really no secret. We just do most of our work offline. Let's get into CompuServe. I have the CompuServe Information Manager up on the screen. We'll work here before going online to send our messages. We pull down the Mail menu and select Create Send Mail. Two windows open. The first is the Create Mail window, and the second, covering the first, is the Recipient List window. That's our CompuServe address book. So let's begin here. We'll send a message to a colleague named Artemis Gordon, who works for West Company. So we type in his name, Artemis, in the name box. This is the name you track in the address book. Then I tab to the address or user ID box and type his email address, art_g@west.com. Next, I click on the address type down arrow to pull down a list of types of addresses. CompuServe likes to know this. I select Internet because that's the type of address it is. For more on how to address your email, check the section at the beginning of this program on email addresses. To add Artie to the recipient list for my message, I click on the Add button, and in goes his name and address to the list. If you want to add a recipient to your address book, click on the Copy button in the center of the window with the arrows pointing left, and the Add to the Address Book dialog box opens, where we can enter more information if we like. We click on the OK button, and the information is added to the address book. When we're done, we click on OK, and the name is automatically entered into our message header. We can also enter the address book directly from the pull-down Mail menu if we need to change or delete an entry. That's all you have to do to add your address book and enter an address for a message. Okay, we've got the address in place, so all we need is a subject and message. Let's start. After addressing, we go to the Create Mail window where the cursor is already lined up in the subject box. There we type in a few choice words to title the message. Heading East. Then we tab to the Compose box to enter our message, just as we would using a word processor. There's word wrap, cutting, and pasting, but we cannot format the text or choose fonts here. I'm coming out your way at the end of the month. I'd appreciate a little party in my honor. Don't go to any extremes. You know me. Scott. Once the message is complete, we're ready to send it off. If we click on the Send Now button, we're automatically connected to CompuServe and the message is sent. But to save time and money, what I like to do is use the Out basket. By clicking on the Out basket button, we send our message to the Out basket, a temporary file where it waits until we connect to CompuServe online. Here in the toolbar is the Out basket icon. It's illuminated to indicate that there are messages waiting to be sent. We click on the icon to see the Out basket list. We could send them from this window by clicking on the Send or Send All button at the bottom of the screen. But there's a better way. We pull down the Mail menu and click on Send Receive All Mail. A dialog box opens, recommending that we disconnect when the mail transfer is done. For me, this is a good idea. It keeps my online costs down. However, if I want to do other business, like check out critical movie reviews, I unselect the disconnect choice by clicking on the little box, and I can surf CompuServe all day. For now, we want to disconnect fast, so we'll leave the Disconnect When Done box checked. Once we click on the OK button, it all happens pretty fast, depending on modem speed. CompuServe dials up and connects to the service. You can see a modem icon and a clock, indicating that you're on CompuServe. Once online, our messages are sent out and any new messages are placed in the In basket. And we are disconnected in seconds. In a bar along the bottom of the screen, there is information on how many messages were sent and how many were received. Pretty snazzy, isn't it? Now you know how to compose and send messages cost-effectively on CompuServe. Everybody likes to get mail or email, so how do you do it on CompuServe? Well, easy. Here we are back again at the CompuServe Information Manager screen. You've just seen one way to pick up email by using Send Receive All Mail to send off outbasket messages and grab any new ones. Another easy way is to just click on this envelope, the Get New Mail icon. It'll automatically dial up and log on to CompuServe. And open the CompuServe In basket. Now, we already picked up our messages, so let's read through them. We click on the In Basket icon to open the list. We select one and click on the Open box, or double-click on the message name. A window opens with our mail message in it. The screen looks very much like the Compose window looked. There's the header with address and from boxes showing who sent the message to whom. Across the bottom are a series of buttons for performing certain functions. You can file the message in a CompuServe file, reply to, or forward the message, delete it, or cancel. Say you want to reply. Here's how. When we click on the Reply button, a Reply To window opens. It looks just like the Create Message window, doesn't it? In the address box is the name and address of the person who sent the original message. In the subject box, the title of the original message. It's up to us to provide a message reply. Thanks for the note. We should do lunch sometime, or take a meeting, or whatever. Call me, Scott. When we're done with our reply, we click on the Out basket or Send Now buttons to send it off. We'll choose Out basket. That sends the message to our Out basket and returns us to the original message. If we want to forward the message on to someone else, first we click on the Forward button. Like before, the recipient list window opens, where we select people to forward the message on to. From there, it's just like sending off any message. We could even edit or insert comments into the message before we send it off. It's features like these that make managing email fast and simple. One of the great things about email is sending files electronically. You can write up a proposal or spreadsheet or make up a graphic and just insert or attach it to your email message and send it off. Then the person on the other end can open it using the proper software right on their own computer. If you are familiar with Windows, it's easy. Here's how to insert a file. Here's our Create Mail window with our address and a subject and a message already entered. Now we're going to insert a file already written in a word processor. Insert means we take the text from a file and paste it right into our message. However, the formatting does not transfer. The recipient can only read it and print it. You can see from the taskbar that I have a Microsoft Word document open and ready to go. So I click on it and the document is maximized. Now all we do is the same thing we do when copying and pasting in other Windows programs. We pull down the Edit menu and click Select All to select all of the file. Then we copy it to the Windows Notepad. Then we click on CompuServe in the taskbar to return to our message. Here we pull down the Edit menu, click on Paste, and in goes the file after the cursor position in the message. You'll notice that there is no formatting. This is just a text file that can be read or printed as part of the CompuServe email message. Now, if we want to send a fully formatted file, like a spreadsheet or a document with a particular layout, we need to attach it to our message as a binary or encoded file. Then the person we are sending it to must open it using the appropriate software. For instance, if we want to send a spreadsheet created in Excel, the person we send it to must have Excel to read it. Oh, there's one other thing. Attaching a file is very simple if you are sending a file to another CompuServe user. But if we want to send the file outside of CompuServe over the internet, we also have to encode the file before sending it out. CompuServe has a program called WinPack32 Deluxe that can be downloaded. Check with CompuServe for help on how to do this. Once the program is downloaded to our computer, we use it to encode files first while offline. Then we can attach the file. This is also the way to attach an unencoded file that we could send to another CompuServe user. We just click on the Attach button and a File Attachment dialog box opens. Here we can either type in the name of the file we want to attach, or scroll down to find the file by clicking on the File button, which opens our file folders. We'll select cameras.xl, a Microsoft Excel file. We'll leave the file type as a binary file to hold the format commands, and click on OK, and the file is attached. We return automatically to the message screen. See, there is a little check next to the Attach button to indicate a file is attached. Then we send off the file as usual. When a CompuServe user receives our attached Excel file, it is automatically downloaded into their CServe download file. From there, they use Excel to open it. You can use email and the insert capabilities to send information you find on CompuServe to your electronic pen pals or coworkers. It is really a great feature. And there are others, such as organizing and storing your messages, automated address searches, faxing, and more. So enjoy using CompuServe now that you know how to zap messages all over the world with email. Hey, just surfing around here in AOL, America Online, looking for Dilbert. America Online is a great service with all sorts of features, but if you're like most of us, you'll find you use email most of all. Well, in this section, we'll cover the basics of email, AOL style. I'll show you how to address, compose, and send messages over AOL and the internet, how to pick up and reply to messages, and a little on inserting and attaching files. And we'll take advantage of AOL's flash sessions to do our emailing without any online charges. First, we pull up AOL onto the desktop, just like we do most programs in Windows 95. AOL is already running on the computer, so we click on the Compose Mail icon, this little pen and paper graphic, to open the Compose Mail window. Or we can use the pull-down Mail menu and select Compose Mail. First thing we need to do is address our message. We can simply type in a name and email address here. We'll send a note to Jim at his location, jwest@pullman.com. For more on how to address your email, check the section at the beginning of this program on email addresses. AOL has an address book that we can access by clicking on the address book icon. The address book can automate your addressing function and save you time later. For now, let's get on with the message. After the address is in place, we enter the subject of the message in the subject box. The Youngquist problem. We tab to enter the compose box where we can type to our heart's content. Well, not quite content. AOL email files have a limited size. The maximum size of the text of an outgoing message varies depending on which AOL software you use. The limits are 24K for Macintosh and Windows software and 8K for other PCs. This isn't likely to give you a problem for most messages unless you try to insert a large file. I'll talk more about that later. Our message is short, so it won't be a problem here. He is at it again. M. Youngquist has another project in mind. Call in Art Gordon if you need him. Talk to you soon, Scott. With the message entered, we're ready to send her off by taking advantage of AOL's flash session. When we're done composing our message, we're ready to send it off. Or are we? Instead of sending mail out as we create it, we can save our messages in an outbox and send them off later. Look here. On the side of the Compose Mail window, notice the two send icons. The send one is not illuminated because we are not online, hooked up to AOL. So we click on the Send Later icon, and off the message goes to the outbox. A dialog box opens to tell us that the message is saved for later delivery and that we should use flash session to send it. We click on OK to clear the box. With mail in the outbox, we're ready for a flash session. A flash session allows us to log on to America Online, dump the mail, pick up new mail, download selected files, and read newsgroup messages. A flash session is fast. Here's how to conduct one. We pull down the Mail menu and click on Activate Flash Session Now. A dialog box opens to begin the session. See the checkoff box for staying online after the session? If we check it, we stay online. We'll leave it blank and disconnect from AOL after the mail is transferred. The Set Session button allows us to schedule a flash session for a later time. We want to do ours now, so we click on Begin. The flash session status bar opens and lets us see what's happening. The system dials up and connects to AOL, transfers the mail, grabs any mail waiting in the AOL mailbox, then disconnects, all in a matter of seconds, with no online charges for us. The Goodbye dialog box tells us how short the session was. Let's close out the flash session dialog box by clicking on the X in the corner. So that's all there is to using America Online for addressing, composing, and sending email. Pretty slick. Okay, we've sent off some mail. Now let's see how to pick up mail and reply to it or forward it. We saw how a flash session not only delivers the mail, it also picks up any mail waiting in our AOL mailbox. Well, that's the easiest way to get the mail when we're offline. If we're online, connected to AOL, this mailbox icon will light up telling us when there's mail. Then we just click on it to open the inbox. Otherwise, after our flash session, we pull down the Mail menu and click on Read Incoming Mail. An incoming mailbox will open listing our waiting mail. To read our mail, we just double-click on what we want or select it and click on the Open button. Then a message window opens so we can read the message. The bar across the top contains the subject or title of the message. The arrow buttons along the bottom allow us to scroll through the messages. We can delete those we don't want by clicking on the Delete button. If there is a file attached to a message, download buttons will appear. We'll get into that later. The icons along the side of the window are for responding to our messages. Reply means to send a message back to the person who sent it to you. Reply to All sends the message back along with copies to others who received the original message. Forward means to send along the message to a new person. Let's reply to this message. When we click on the reply icon, a reply window opens that looks a lot like the Compose Mail window. However, this time, the To box is already filled in with the email address of the person who sent the original message, and the subject box and title bar show that this is a reply to the original message. We could add other persons to the To and CC boxes and change the subject if we like. The cursor is already in the Compose box, so we can type in our reply to the message. Thanks for the note. I'll be there with bells on. Scott. When we're done, we click on Send Later, and the reply goes into the outbox for our next flash session. The familiar flash session dialog box opens, telling us our reply has been saved for later delivery. We click on OK to clear it and return to the original message. Sending the reply is just like sending off a normal message using a flash session. When we're done reading and replying to a message, we can delete it or save it. To delete it, just click on the Delete button, and a dialog box opens asking if you are sure. We click Yes, and the message is deleted, and we return to the inbox list in the incoming flash mail window. There, we can open other messages. And that's all there is to it. Pretty simple, isn't it? One of the most important aspects of email for many users is the ability to attach and send other files over the internet. With email, you can send out a spreadsheet or a graphic or whatever to anyone anywhere who has the software to read it, and it's easy to do. First, we'll look at inserting files. Inserting a file means copying it from your computer into your message. When you do this, only the text is copied. All formatting is lost. But this is not a problem with many letters or other types of files that don't depend upon their presentation. Here's our Compose Mail window with our address and a subject and a message already entered. Now I want to insert a file that was created in a word processor. It's not important that the recipient be able to manipulate this file. I just want her to be able to read and print it. So I insert it into my message. You can see from the taskbar that Microsoft Word is running with a document ready to go. We click on the Word button to open the document. Now all we do is the same thing we've done before with other Windows programs. We pull down the Edit menu and click on Select All to block all of the file. Then we click on Copy in the Edit menu to copy the file to the Windows Notepad. Then we click on America Online in the taskbar to return to our message. Here we position the cursor where we want to insert the file in the message. We pull down the Edit menu, click on Paste, and in goes the file after the cursor position. You'll notice that there is no formatting. This is just a text file that can be read or printed right along with the email message. Now, if we want to send a fully formatted file like a spreadsheet or a document with a particular layout, we need to attach it to the message as a coded file. Then the person we're sending it to must decode it using the appropriate software. For instance, if we want to send a spreadsheet created in Excel, the person we send it to must have Excel to read it. Let's attach a file to this same message. First, we click on the Attach button, and an Attach File dialog box opens. Here we can either type in the name of the file we want to attach, or scroll through the files the way we would with most Windows programs. When we've selected the file we want, let's use cameras.xl. It's an Excel spreadsheet. We click on OK to attach it to our message. We are immediately sent back to our message. See, beneath the subject box, the name of the file is indicated. When you send the file, AOL will encode it for transmission. We send off the file as usual by clicking on the Send Later icon and using a flash session. Now to pick up and download an attached file, we start by picking up our mail as usual, either with a flash session or by clicking on the mailbox icon when we're online with AOL. Then we pull down the Mail menu and click on Read Incoming Mail to see the message. We select the file from the incoming flash mail list and open it by double-clicking on it. When there is a file attachment, the Download Later button is illuminated. We click on it, and a dialog box opens telling us the file has been added to the download list to be handled by the Download Manager. When we click on the Download Manager button, we enter the Download Manager where we can set up our download sessions. This window tells us the name of the message with the attached file, the size of the file to be downloaded, and the amount of time it will take to download the file from AOL to our desktop. The icons along the bottom of the window allow us to perform other functions. For now, we'll save this to the My Documents folder, which is already selected. We exit the window by clicking on the X in the upper right corner. Then, when we start up another flash session, we connect to AOL and the file is automatically downloaded to the My Documents folder. There it will have the same name as it was given by the person who sent it to us. To open and read or work with the downloaded file, we need the software it was created in. If it were the Excel spreadsheet, we would open it like a regular Excel file. It will have all the formulas and everything. Well, those are the basics of email on America Online. There are a lot more things you can do, like setting up your address book and a personal file cabinet to manage your messages, or copying and sending web pages using email. So experiment and have fun. It's a great way to communicate. We've covered a lot in this program. You now know how to make electronic mail work for you. You know how to address, compose, send, and receive email, and how to send files over the internet. Each of the email systems we covered in this program has a lot of other features that can help you become more productive and make using the internet even more fun. So explore and enjoy. It's too bad my mother doesn't like computers. I've got to get to a post office.